So you've committed a crime and now you're going to prison. Unless you've been to prison before, you're probably clueless to the prison ways. Well, if that's the case, you're in the right place, because in this video, I will be teaching you how to survive prison both physically and mentally. Learning prison survival skills and important information about prison before serving your sentence will make your prison experience less harmful both physically and mentally. Before you begin serving your sentence, you will want to learn many things about prison in order to better prepare yourself for your time in prison. You'll want to learn about what security level you're going to be staying at. Are you going to be staying at maximum security, medium security, minimum security? Maybe there's a recent famous criminal that's staying in your prison that you will be going to, and you might want to avoid them, or you might want an autograph. Learn if there are any educational programs that you can take while you're in prison. What is the criteria that is needed in order to be eligible for parole? Make sure to build relationships with people, but never stand out from the crowd or say something out of place. Make sure to use your manners when talking to guards and just ultimately stay out of trouble. Think of it like surviving high school. This quote, the goal here is to re-educate and re-socialize those who have made mistakes. The guards are in charge. I'm not different because I was a footballer. This quote is from a prisoner named Robson de Souza, who was serving 9 years in prison in Brazil for a rape. This quote tells us that no matter what crime you committed, nor what your social status was before prison, every inmate receives the same treatment and opportunities in prison. Having this quote in mind will help you understand that even if a crime you committed was big or small, it won't change the way you are treated in prison, at least from the guards. It will not work for you or against you. So it is better just to let go of that before you even begin your sentence. Before you are in prison, it is critical that you know prison slang, or at least what prison slang not to say. Accidentally saying a word that you don't know the meaning to can result in you getting a beating from your other inmates. The most important slang word to know is goof. You may think that a word like that wouldn't be that big of a deal, but trust me, it is. Saying the word to someone is practically calling / accusing them of being a molester. The word isn't thrown around lightly in prison, as you could probably guess. So be careful, because prison slang is pretty much a form of communication that all prisoners use, and it is an essential skill to learn for surviving your time in prison. Now, when you think of prison, the first thing that may come to mind is all of the violence. Yes, there is a lot of fights that take place in prison, but there is also a lot more to prisoners' physical safety than just a broken jaw. Other than avoiding fights, it is important to prioritize your personal hygiene in prison. Medical care is also accessible to inmates in prisons protected by the 8th Amendment. You will have access to dental, medical, and even mental health care during your time in prison. See, in my opinion, mental health is an overlooked topic in prisons. Having good mental health is one of the most important things you can maintain during your time in prison. It is easier said than done, though. Prison isn't exactly the best environment to maintain good mental health, which is why it is important to be so aware of it. You may not agree with the reason why you were in prison, but the best way to let go of that is to accept what you've done and that this will be your life and it will be your reality for your sentence in this period of time. I'm not saying that you need to be this obnoxiously happy person in prison, because well, that's probably not going to happen. I'm just saying that you need to become more in touch and in control of your emotions, and that will help you when you're serving your time. Every moment spent in prison can either break you or shape you into a stronger person. This quote supports the information that I have been teaching you in this video. This quote from Daniel Reed covers the topic of how prison can either influence you for the worst, making you a more dangerous, mentally ill, skilled criminal, or for the better. If you stay mindful of your goals and make peace with your sentence, you are able to learn from the experience and make yourself a better person. Maintaining connections with the outside world once you're in prison is very important. Having phone calls and visits with family members and friends is definitely a priority if you're wanting to keep your relationship strong. See, now I would be lying if I said that prison food was delicious, because, well, it isn't. The average amount of money spent on prisoners' meals per day is $2 to $4. Prisons typically spend the least amount of money they can possibly spend on food, which means you will be eating the lowest quality you can get. I would personally recommend that you go to the store and pick out everything you have ever loved and wanted to eat and just eat it all. Have a good mukbang, if you will. Eat like there's no tomorrow. Think of it like your death row meal, but you're not dying. Just go to prison. Let's say you make it out of prison. You're alive, you're intact, mentally stable. You'd be shocked to know that a surprising amount of people who are released from prison end up back in prison within 5 years. There's nearly a 76% recidivism rate in the United States. So you would think that the time you spend in prison would make you never want to return, but somehow that isn't the case. Returning as a person in society is very difficult for ex-prisoners. When it comes to relationships that grew apart during your imprisonment, not having a job to come back to, or maybe not even having a place to live. There's no need to worry though, because I am going to teach you the steps you can take after your time in prison. Focus on your goals and your future. It can be very difficult to forgive and put away your past mistakes, but being able to do that will allow you to see your future more clearly and more positively. Make a plan. While you are still serving your time in prison, I would recommend that you start a plan for yourself when you are released. Find a place to live. There are many housing opportunities that are available for people who have recently been released from prison. For example, there are houses called halfway houses, which are temporary living facilities used for people who are in recovery or were recently released from prison. There are also other temporary programs for you to use until you find a more permanent solution. Don't be afraid to reach out to friends and family or even the community. Learn a new skill. Learning a new skill will not only help you learn new things, but it will also keep you busy and distracted. Celebrate small wins in life. It may seem silly, but celebrating small wins anytime possible will help you become a more happy and positive person. So, the conclusion to all of this is that I think if you can learn and be mindful of all of this information I have shared with you in this video before you serve your time in prison, you will be able to survive your sentence without completely losing yourself, both physically and mentally, in the harsh prison system.